Well, folks, today I have some good news and bad news about the C8 Corvette and some C8 Z06 secrets that you may not yet know about. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Brink of Speed. Now, typically I save the best for last, but today I'm going to give you the good stuff right away. Now, all of this news is important, so make sure to stick around for the good and the bad. Okay, let's do this. Number one, let's talk about Z06 secrets and what is GM hiding from us. With the latest video of what's rumored to be a C8 Z06, we can definitely hear that this isn't GM's LT2 pushrod engine. This is more of a high-pitched noise, just like the C8R has, coming from its exhaust. Now, if you listen to both the C8R and this test mule, my ears hear the exact same sound. Let's listen to it one more time. Now, does this make this particular test mule the Z06? I'm not sure. It still doesn't look wide enough to me for it to be a wide body Z06 or Grand Sport or ZR1. I really think GM is testing this new engine in a normal base model body just to make it difficult for us to understand what's going on here. And that's really part of the secret that I'm talking about with the Z06. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but I truly believe that they have put the 5.5 liter flat plane crank engine in the normal base model body and are testing that out just again to basically give us as little information as they can as of this moment. They've also covered up the wheels so we can't see what the brakes look like either. And what this tells me is that they probably have two reasons for doing this. Number one, they may be testing a new style of wheel for the Z06 and don't want us to see it yet. And number two, if it is a Z06, it probably has bigger brakes or even carbon ceramics that would totally give us way too much info this early on. Let me know what your thoughts are about this. Now, just 2 days ago, a new photo was released and it told us more about this mysterious test mule that most, including car and driver, think is the Z06. Here is a picture of this C8 testing with a Porsche, which is pretty standard for GM to do with their Corvettes. Obviously, we already have an article from Motor Trend with the base model C8 being tested right alongside the 911S. However, what makes this more interesting than even that test is this is Porsche's top dog 911. It is their GT2 RS with a twin turbo flat six, putting out 700 plus horsepower and earning second place for overall fastest lap at the Nürburgring. Just looking at this picture tells me that GM isn't messing around with this new C8, whatever it may be. They are dead serious about creating a true mid-engine supercar that will compete with something as spectacular as the Porsche GT2 RS, and that is awesome. If GM gets this right, we may be looking at the first Corvette under 100K that will set a sub 7-second Nürburgring time and land itself in the top 5 for all-time fastest on that track. Let me know your thoughts on this matter as well. Now let's get to some bad news for the C8 that just came out today. Apparently GM just released info on the exposed carbon fiber aero bits that they are no longer available for the 2020 models. I don't understand this, ladies and gentlemen, because even if you had your order in with those pieces being added to your C8, they are now canceled. This is quite interesting and really disappointing to me. I'm not even getting those pieces added to my C8, but for everyone out there that was, this isn't cool for them at all. Now, as far as I can tell, this is only for aero pieces. You can still have them install the front grille carbon fiber piece, and of course, all of the inside carbon fiber is still available. Now, did GM do this because there really is a shortage of material? Or is it because not enough people had ordered the carbon fiber aero pieces? Let me know what you think about this and if your order was affected by this. Also, let me know what your plan is now that this has affected your order. Moving on and sticking with C8 aero pieces. We have some good new info about the high wing spoiler on the C8 and its visibility from the rear viewing mirror, thanks to Dreamer616 over on the Mid-Engine Corvette forum. He was able to sit in a high wing C8 Corvette and see how it affected his rear view mirror visibility. He said that it really isn't an issue at all. He could definitely see the top of the wing, but it didn't affect his rear viewing area at all. This is great news, but I never doubted that GM would get this right. We know with the ZR1 high wing, there isn't really any visibility interference. So I didn't think that there would be with this high wing either, especially because of the digital rear viewing camera. Okay, time for some good news. Courtesy of Keith, the Corvette blogger, Harlan Charles of GM stated that he has a strong desire to have the first C8s starting to be delivered before the end of February. This isn't a for sure thing. It is simply what Harlan is hoping to have happen. They still face the possibility of QC, which stands for quality control, slowing things down and stopping this from happening. But they have a solid plan in place so far with QC to hopefully avoid any major setbacks on that side of things. I am in no rush to get a C8 with all kinds of problems, and I think GM is doing all they can to ensure that this doesn't happen. So, if they have to keep these cars in QC longer than they thought, and we don't have any dealership deliveries until March, so be it. I think you will agree, though, that it is nice to hear that Harlan is pushing for them to start showing up at dealerships before February is over. Okay, so sticking with good news. Number 5, anyone that has an early March build date like myself can probably expect to have their C8 a couple weeks after the target production build date. Speaking of TPWs, people are already receiving build dates for their convertible C8s. I saw on the Mid-Engine Corvette forum that some of the first TPW dates are early April, which is not bad at all when you think about how delayed everything has been with just the base model. So anyone out there with a convertible coming your way, that's great news in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Now for the last bit of C8 news, and to me, this is cool news. GM finally released the miles per gallon of the C8, and we are looking at 15 miles per gallon in town and 27 on the highway. Now keep in mind a couple of things here. Number 1, they are always conservative with these numbers. The Corvette usually does much better than the posted MPGs say. And number 2, this is pretty amazing that they continue to build a high horsepower V8 that will get you upwards of 30 miles per gallon while cruising on the highway. I think this is fantastic. Now I know we're not buying this car for good gas mileage, but this is just an added bonus to an already spectacular car. Wouldn't you agree? It will continue to make taking long trips in your Corvette inexpensive as far as gas goes, and that to me is really cool. So that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the good news. I hope the bad news doesn't get you down on your C8 as far as the carbon fiber aero goes. You can still get the carbon flash aero that looks just like the carbon fiber aero as far as how big everything is. You just can't get the carbon fiber. Now, keep in mind that places like ACS Composite are going to start making and building carbon fiber aero pieces for the C8. So you can always order from them, and it's probably going to cost around the same, maybe a little bit less than it would cost OEM from GM. So keep that in mind as well. But again, that's it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. Leave me a comment on all of these information topics. And if you have not joined this wonderful Brink of Speed community, make sure you take a look at what I'm doing here, and that you keep in mind I will be receiving one of these C8s myself, hopefully in March, and starting to do amazing content for each and every one of you guys. So if that interests you, make sure you hit that red subscribe and bell notification so that you're notified when that content comes out. I hope each and every one of you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you out on the road.